Hey everyone, I'm McAdam and this is Therapy in a Nutshell. And because you're seeing me on YouTube, that means you're on social media. That also means you probably run into something that most of us experience, but almost no one wants to admit. Jealousy. You get stuck comparing yourself to others. Now, we usually think of jealousy as a shameful or toxic emotion. When we're fused with it, we might feel a burning sense of competition, victimhood, or hatred toward others. It feels gross, right? Or we might judge ourselves for feeling that way and try to push that feeling away. But what if jealousy isn't something to be ashamed of? What if it's actually a messenger or a guide? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to transform jealousy from a source of pain into personal insight, healing, even empowerment. Let's get into it. Okay, so have you ever seen anyone walk into a room and maybe they're super fit or confident or stylish, and instead of admiring them, you hear that little voice that says, "Ugh, I'll never be like them," or "I'll never look that good. Why can't I be as beautiful or glamorous or popular as they are?" That's jealousy, right? It's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. Most of us respond to jealousy by either shaming ourselves, like, "What's wrong with me for being so petty?" Or by resenting the other person. "She's probably fake anyway." But those reactions are just defense mechanisms. They protect us from vulnerability. Because the truth is, comparison makes us feel like we're not enough, not rich enough, not loved enough, not safe enough, not good enough. But here's the key. Jealousy isn't just a bad feeling, it's a signal and it's an opportunity. Jealousy is like an arrow pointing to something that matters to you. It tells us about the parts of ourselves that feel unseen, unworthy, or unloved, and about the things that we deeply desire. Jealousy is just information. It's a messenger. And if we can stop judging it, we can start learning from it. So let's dig a little deeper and see what jealousy might be trying to say. So if you notice yourself comparing yourself to others, first step is to pause yourself and name your emotions. You could say something like, "This is jealousy," or "This is comparison. It feels uncomfortable, but it's trying to show me something." So go ahead and notice what it is about that person that's pulling on your jealousy. So for me, sometimes when I see someone who's stylish and outgoing and they're interacting with everyone, I notice when she comes into a room, everyone else just lights up a little bit. Everyone she talks with seems happy to talk with her. They're laughing and smiling because she's so charming. And like she can even argue with people in a fun way. She makes it all look so easy. So then I think, oh, I wish I could be a natural extrovert. Okay, so that's an example for me. Once you notice that you're comparing yourself to others, you're gonna ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I really jealous of? It could be that this person has it easy, or they seem so popular, or they have such good people skills. But when I really ask myself what it is, I know that it's confidence. Okay, so the second question is, what do they have that I don't? And I would say, oh, they feel free to say what they want. They act self-assured. And then the third question is, what is the feeling I would experience if I were more like them? So you might have to imagine yourself in their shoes. In my case, I would imagine that if I felt more confident, I would not worry so much about every social situation. I would be able to relax more around other people and feel safe being myself. You can go deeper and ask, what is it that I really want? Because when we unpack jealousy, usually we find that it's not the body we want. It's the feeling that we imagine that comes with it. So that's safety, power, lovability, freedom, confidence. So what if we get curious about our jealousy instead of being ashamed of it? When we do that, we discover that it's pointing to the things we really care about, our deepest desires and values. So let me give you a few more examples of what jealousy might really be saying underneath the surface. So if you think, oh, I'm jealous of her body, you might actually want to feel strong and healthy. I'm jealous of their relationship. Might mean I long for emotional connection and being chosen. Or I'm jealous of their success. Might mean I want to feel capable and proud of myself. Okay, so quick review before we move on to how to actually put jealousy to use. When you notice jealousy, pause and ask yourself these 3 questions. What am I really jealous of? What do I think that person has that I don't? And what do I imagine I would feel if I had it? So we're gonna shift from the external to the internal. We're gonna be asking ourselves these questions. And I think it's just helpful to think of jealousy as a mirror. It's not about the other person. Jealousy is showing us something about ourselves. And when you see jealousy as a mirror, it helps you figure out the areas of your life you want to nurture. It shows you where you want to grow or what you're truly longing for. Or at the very least, it gives you a chance to ask yourself, is this as important as I think it is? Like, is this actually what I'm longing for? So then, here's the big question. How do we get to that place? If I want to feel confident, if I decide that it's important for me to feel loved or capable, how do I get that feeling? How do I feel more confident? And the key is to focus on that feeling that we want but we don't have right now. So for me, the jealousy I felt helped me to see that what I really want is to feel more confident in my own skin. So how do we get there? We're going to talk about 4 shifts you can make to become the person who feels the way you want to feel. I think we can all agree, you can't just make yourself feel something. You can't just force yourself to feel confident or to feel loved. So how do we do that? We've got to flip that wish into a value-based action. What do I really value? Values are things like being authentic, courageous, hardworking, or hopeful. And the reason we work from a place of values is that you can't force a feeling, but you can always move toward a value. Values are actionable. So we've been doing a lot of shifting here, but we're shifting from noticing what's outside of us to what's inside of us. And then we're shifting from what's the feeling I want to what's the value that would be most likely to bring that feeling about. So when I think in terms of my values, I realize that I never actually wanted to be that extroverted. And by the way, extroversion is a trait, not a feeling or a value. I don't actually want to be extroverted. I don't actually enjoy small talk, and that's okay. What I actually wanted was to feel more bold. So the value that I hold beneath that feeling is self-acceptance and courage. Let's look at a couple other possible values from our other examples. So I'm jealous of her body means I want to feel strong and healthy. That means your value is physical health. Or if you were jealous of their relationship, I long for emotional connection and being chosen. That means you value love. Love is much more actionable than being chosen. Being chosen is outside of you. Love is something inside of you, right? That's something you can actually take action on. Here's another one. I'm jealous of their success. It means I want to feel capable. And so the value is I value hard work. Once you're clear on the value you're going to build on, the next question is, how can I start taking action that would fuel those feelings that the value is aligned with? So for me, it's like, what's the action I can take to feel more confident? What action would move me toward lining up with my values? So you ask yourself, how can I act on the value that feeds that feeling? Okay, so instead of focusing on what you want, you pay attention to the next few steps you take in that direction. It's like hiking a mountain. You can either focus on, oh, I wish I was at the top. It's so unfair that others are already at the summit. Or you can focus on moving your feet in the right direction. You can check the map, make sure you know where you're going, that's your values, and then choose to make the next few steps. So for me, when I see that confident, charismatic person, I can process through my feelings of jealousy by asking, how can I take steps to be more confident? Here's what I came up with. I read a book on confidence. I mean, that's what I do, right? And I learned that confidence doesn't come from thinking about being confident or waiting until you feel confident to take action. It comes from taking small risks each day. So I'll start sharing my opinion or acting in a more confident way and asking others one deep question per day. And I think as I do this, I'm living in line with my values of being more bold, and I'll start to feel more confident. But what if you feel powerless to create action? What if you feel like no matter what you do, others will never love you or respect you or be attracted to you? Okay, here's another essential mental shift that's going to help you here. You've got to shift from seeking external validation to internal assurance. Wanting to be seen as is a really poor substitute for wanting to actually be something. We imagine that if other people loved us, we would love ourselves. We imagine that if other people liked us, we would feel confident. If other people praised us, we would be proud of ourselves. That if other people recognized our accomplishments, we would feel valuable and worthy. But outside approval is a hollow substitute for that deep internal confidence that comes from facing your demons and living a life full of integrity. So that true assurance comes from knowing that you're living in a way that you're proud of. So to do this, we have to constantly shift your attention away from needing to be seen as, instead toward actually being good. Instead of wanting to be seen as kind, focus on being kind. Instead of wanting to be seen as powerful, focus on your locus of control. You accept the things you cannot change and you focus your energy on the things you can change. You see the pattern? Jealousy is rarely about what someone else has. It's about what you're longing for internally. And once you identify that, you can start taking steps to cultivate it in your own life. You don't have to look like someone else to feel powerful. You don't need someone else's relationship to feel loved, and you don't need to copy someone else's success to feel capable. You start building those experiences for yourself from the inside out. Okay, so then here's a question you might be asking. What if I feel like I'll never be good enough? There's not enough love or money or praise to go around. Here's the last pivot. It's to shift your focus from scarcity to abundance. Remind yourself again, what you're actually seeking isn't money or approval or a perfect body. You're seeking a feeling. Just because someone else has something doesn't mean you or I can't also have it. There is literally no limit on the amount of confidence. There's no limit to the number of people who can treat their body in a healthy way, or the amount of love you can feel or give, or the amount of self-assurance you can hold. What you're really looking for is a feeling, and these feelings are absolutely infinitely abundant and unlimited. Okay, so going back to my example, to shift my focus to abundance, I would practice paying attention to my gifts and skills instead of what I lack, and the opportunities I have to just exercise, to stretch my comfort zone, right? I am not the same as everyone else, and I'm generally more introverted, which I can consider to be a gift. I can feel proud of myself for my ability to create great, deep dialogue and forge lasting connections and make a few people feel cared about. Now, when we listen to what our jealousy is saying and we do the work to shift our thinking and align our actions to our values, we get to become the person that our heart is longing to become. Okay, I want to end with this. Working with jealousy takes courage because it means facing the parts of ourselves that feel inadequate. And that can feel really vulnerable. So when you notice jealousy and comparing yourself to others and you ask it to teach you, you stop fighting yourself or other people. You stop living in comparison and you start instead lining your life up with what you truly value, that rich and meaningful life that you care about. At your core, you are not superficial or competitive. In fact, you have a lot to offer the people around you and the world around you, and you're gonna take action to make the world a better place. So the next time jealousy shows up, pause, get curious, and listen. Your deepest desires are trying to speak. Hey, thanks for watching. If this video helped you see jealousy or comparison in a new light, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, or even share it with someone who might need this message today. And just a reminder, emotional regulation is a skill that you can learn. On my website, you can find a course I developed called How to Process Your Emotions, where I teach over 30 skills to help resolve depression, anxiety, and other intense emotions. Members get this along with 9 other courses as part of their monthly subscription. Or you can buy the course on its own and have lifetime access to it. I'll share a link in the description where you can learn more.